I think you're all good, ready to go.
Awesome. Fantastic. Welcome everybody to Wealth Wednesday. So excited to have you guys here. Man, what an incredible day it's going to be. We're going to have our usual enthusiasm, and we're going to hear from Tim O'Rourke in a second, but we got just what I think is going to be just a phenomenal training and from a great friend, and I think probably the best in the business at explaining a concept that's very timely and powerful, but he does it in a way that's gives all the information, but he also does it with a great people skills and people ability. So if we, Tim, let's go north of the border for a second. We've gone international today. Tim's in Canada. And great things happening in Canada. I'm really excited about that. We're getting ready to really push out again. And, Tim, if you would just take a second and do your Tim's talks. And thank you for being here. And Kimberly's awesome. Kimberly's coming to us from St. Louis today. Got a great event going there with Gail and her team. So we welcome everyone. So, Tim, thank you.
All right, great. Hey, everybody. So, yeah, and let me give you a quick Canadian update. It's interesting. I've been talking to our partners up here and talking to a lot of people, and their take on, this whole tariff thing is everybody's kind of on pins and needles about when that's going to start and what the effect of that's going to be on their economy as well. Obviously, a lot of automobiles are sent across the border here. A lot of technology is built here. A lot of this is going to have a huge effect on their economy. So they're kind of watching that. This is something that the current administration has talked about a lot, as far as how they're wielding their ability to negotiate with governments of the tariffs that are put on, or these penalties, I call them, are taxes that are put on products that we trade, and they try to charge a tariff on the U.S. And so all they're trying to do is do a reciprocal kind of tariff. If you charge one, we're going to charge one, type of thing. So that's playing out, and the Canadians up here, most of them are pretty liberal, I would say, overall, and they're just kind of sitting back watching what's going to happen and how this is going to play out. So and the impact of this on our inflation is really what I kind of am paying attention to, and how that's going to have an impact on interest rates, because as we all know, interest rates are what drive businesses. So the cheaper the money is, the lower the interest rates, I think the better for the markets it's going to be. The one thing I want to talk about real briefly, and then I'll turn it back over, that all eyes are on right now, is this DeepSeek, which is a Chinese technology company, has come out with a chip format that is competitive to NVIDIA for literally 1/12 the cost or 1/10 the cost of their technology. So it's having a very huge impact on the AI marketplace right now. Because if you look at the overall market, and I've been talking about this for the last couple of years, is we are in our going on our 16th year of a continuous bull market, where we've had, during the COVID years, we had a quick correction just because of all the economy, everybody staying at home. I think we all remember those days where they said lockdown, go home, don't go out. And I remember oil prices went down to zero, actually, for about a week, where there was nowhere for oil to go. And so they had to lock it down, shut off valves and everything around the world. And so, those kind of impacts are huge, defining moments that are changing. And so now we're seeing that NVIDIA, with this whole AI kind of chip making, they're the leader in this whole movement. And when you see them having a report after the bell today and see what's the impact of this DeepSeek when their technology is going to have on people buying, are these companies buying these chips? So all eyes are really going to be watching that today. And then the last thing is, remember, that's forward going. So I don't think they're going to have a big news announcement. So I think it's going to be kind of, you know, so. I don't think it's going to be anything big, anything real bad, but you'll probably see a negative response, would be my guess. And that's yet to be played out. there are some things going on in the world now that are good, actually, like the peace agreements in Ukraine and Russia, hopefully in the Middle East. We have some very positive things where price of oil is coming down, which will help inflation. So there's a lot of things going on here that we have to be aware of, which are going to, either reduce inflation or fuel it up. So I think the next month or so is going to be very interesting to watch. So keep an eye on all that. Jody, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I always feel smarter when Tim talks. So great information today. And let's jump right into the program. I'm going to turn it over to my good friend and one of the top producers in this sector and a great builder in his own right. And that's the great Anuj Jain. So Anuj, I turn it over to you, buddy. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Jody. Thank you. I really appreciate, and I appreciate this time that you invited me here to talk about. And it's my pleasure. It's an honor to be here. And just a little bit about myself before I started, that I started this business around 6 years ago. And I was recruited, by a close friend without any BOP also. I just got recruited. And when the first time I went to the office, that was the day when Jody was doing a BOP for, like he do pretty much every Tuesday in our office. And that was the first time I really heard the BOP, and that just blown me away, that what powerful business opportunity that we are in. And since that day, never looking back and, put all the efforts that requires to build this business. And with the constant guidance from Mr. Hubert and Jody and all the powerful leaders that we have, it's such a blessing to be here. And this is an equal opportunity for everyone. I do not come from a financial background. I don't have any degrees in finance. I come from a typical engineering background. And so everything I learned here in last 5 to 6 years. And, the topic that I'm going to share today, I have no idea about that topic 6 years ago. And now I have this opportunity to present to a bigger crowd and helped out lots and lots of families all across US. So it is everything that I'm going to share is from my experience here and what I learned from others. We'll keep it more interactive. So, just ask me questions, stop me anywhere. Usually this topic takes about half a day to cover everything, but it's just a short time. So I will try to squeeze as much as I can, but, we can always do follow-up sessions and all, but I'll try to still cover as much as I can, and provide some meaningful information. So with that, let me share my screen and we'll go from there. Jody, do you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Looks great.
Okay, perfect. So this is me, So today what I'm going to talk about is, the retirement is the longest road trip that we are going to, be on. And that's why it's required a lot of planning. If you fail to plan, basically you're planning to fail. It is simple as that. We cannot just sit back and say, relax, whatever happens will happen. There's a lot of things need to be taken care of before we hit to that journey, before we start that journey. So let's get started and we'll talk about that. And let me pull one quick chart before I show that to you. Okay, let's look at this. So I was just, before this meeting started, I was just looking at some of the data that, why I'm talking, it's the longest journey, that if you see, like the centenarian generation, the population, which is people who are over 100, is going to be, it's already very high, close to 100,000 people already in US who are close to this age or over, and it's going to be quadruple over the next 30 years, which is a good thing, because all the medical advancement is happening, a lot of technology is in place now. So people are living longer and longer. What that means is it's really going to be a very, very long ride. And another data which suggests that there are people around in the age group of 90 to 99 and then over 100. So this is, spread out into all different states of US. But if you just look at the total number, we're just blown away by more, close to 3 million people in that age range. So just keep these numbers in mind, just keep this data in mind when you look through this presentation, that there are lots and lots of people, and a lot of us will be in this situation also, in going forward. So that's where I started, yes, this is going to be a very long journey. And I don't know how many of you have done this, like when you really go like, across the country in a road trip, do you just start, go into your car and start, or you just plan a lot? There are a lot of things that we need to plan. There could be situations when you run out of gas, or you have a flat tire, or maybe out of money. There are a lot of things that can go wrong. So if that happens, you don't want to be stranded in the middle of the road. Retirement looks very much like this. There are a lot of things that we cannot even predict right now. Right now, maybe we are in a very good health, everything is perfect. We see our portfolio is pretty sizable. Everything looks very, very positive, but there are things which are not in our control. What Justin was mentioning, the changes in the economy which is happening, those are not in our control at all. So what if that happens? Are we planning for that? So we need to be very, very cognizant about the things that are not in our control and that can also happen. So retirement is wonderful if you have these two essentials, much to live on and much to live for. What I mean with that is much to live on means you need to have enough saved up money. You need to have enough. Basically, retirement is nothing but you don't want to work. You said, I'm done, 60, 65, whatever that age is, and we will live on what we have saved already. So our nest egg will pay for rest of our life and live for. This is very, very important. You need to have a strong purpose in life also. That what exactly I want to do in those years when I have a lot of time. Because I work with a lot of retired people and I've seen that, during that time, they get into depression because there's not much to do. Social activities gone down, and pretty much people are living in their homes, not going out. So things will not fall in place, the way you are thinking. Now, guess what? With HGI, we have blessing, we have opportunity to take care of both. If we focus enough, we can have a lot of money that can be made, so we have enough to live on. And you have a purpose also. You can help the community, you can help out a lot of people all across. Think of what Mr. Humphrey is doing right now, right? He's over 80, still he has a strong purpose in life he said that once to me also in person that my dream is to make more and more millionaires in the company, that the people that we touched. So that's a strong purpose. We have that also, right? We have that opportunity. So why not? We can take full advantage of this thing. So retirement is not the end of the road. It's just the beginning of an open highway. So be ready for all the things that can come your way. And it's an adventure ride also. I'm not here to scare you, but just to give you some insight into this. And a quick data point that, I gathered from, and I showed you the first data also that I showed you, like a lot of people are living longer. So this says that everyone, like, 65 plus, 65 or older people with average health. So 1 in 4 of 65-year-old men will live up to 93, right? Women can live up to 96, and married individual, at least one of them can live up to 98 and up to 100 also. So what that means is that, yes, if we are planning to retire around 60, 65, there is a lot of years, lots and lots of years that we need to plan for, right? So sometimes people cannot even visualize that part, that hey, we will be in 90s. That's like very, very long number, and we need to plan for it. No matter what you think, but we have to plan for it. Now, this is what people think. When the moment I ask somebody, what do you think about retirement? These are some of the pictures that come to your mind. Retirement is all about fun, and fun, right? Going out on vacation, spending time on beach, playing with grandkids, or pursuing a hobby that you always wanted to do, travel the world. There are so many good things that we are planning for. But do you think that it's always just like this? All good things? No. Retirement, yes, definitely the idea is to have more and more, more quality time in our golden years. But there are phases. We call the 3 phases in retirement, right? The first one is what you saw here. It's mostly the first one, which is the go-go years. I got this from one of the retirement expert in the industry, Tom Hegna, one of his training I attended, and that's what he shared. And I really like this approach, which says the initial, like if you are retiring, let's say 60, then 60 to 70, 75 is like your go-go years, which means you're in very good shape, good health, exploring the world, going out, hiking, doing a lot of things, playing sports, everything that you always wanted to do. And of course, if you have enough saved up money, and that's the only thing you can retire. So all those happy things will happen at the time. Now, what happens after that? The next phase is called slow go years. That means you're still, active, but you're taking a, little bit aback, let me just spend more time, staying in, relaxing. You are just pacing down a little bit. So most of the time goes here. But there will be a time, again, I'm talking about our people who are going to live up to 90, 95, 100, 80s to that. So there will be a time when we have these no-go years also, which means our health is frailing down, maybe nursing home or assisted living, senior care. There will be time that we may end up there. So it requires a separate set of planning. So we cannot just plan for one thing. Like a lot of people, in my experience, just plan for these go-go years, which means everything is as we planned. I have a lot of money that I saved, and there will be a lot of fun that I'm going to do. So plan for that. But what about the other phases also? Especially the last phase is a very critical one. That's where you need to have strong bonding, strong social circle, good family relations, and a lot of money also, and some planning around long-term care and planning for nursing homes and all those things. So keep in mind that it requires a different set of planning for all different years. I'm just keeping track of time also. Okay, now how do I start planning for this thing? Like I understand that point. We need to plan for retirement, but where do I start? What is my starting point? How much do I need? So there are various formulas that's available. There are a lot of advisors who's talked about this all the time. If you go on Google or YouTube, you find tons of suggestions to do this. But what I like is the very, very simple one that anyone can apply right away. It's called 25 times rule. So if you want to know how much money do I need to save in order to retire, so pick an age that you feel like that you want to retire to, 60, 65. Actually, the age is doesn't matter when it comes to retirement. It's all about your savings. But let's say you want to retire at 60. So first thing is understand what would be your yearly expenses in your retirement. The easy way is let's say if you are thinking you are spending $50,000 a year, then after 10, 15, 20 years, that may be at least $70,000, $75,000. But if you are planning not to go crazy in the retirement, just cut down on some of the spendings. So still consider 50,000 is good enough for me for every year in retirement. Then multiply that by number of years that you think you will be retired for. And again, that comes with the life expectancy. So we typically say 85 to 90. So if I'm planning to retire at 60 times, or up to 85, then it's about 25 years. And if I need $50,000 a year, then times 25 is about 1.25 million. So that's one of the easy approach. A lot of people, instead of going into too much details about inflation and all those things, at least first achieve this simple math. That if I see myself saved up over $1 million, $1.2 million, and I'm looking of 25 years of retirement, I think I have done good now. I can start thinking of retirement. That's the next point the next planning is now how do I split this $1.25 million into multiple things so that I will not have any issues in my retirement. That's where all three phases comes in picture, that what part I need to take care of with this money. But this will give a lot of people a good start to start planning also, because otherwise there is no target to work towards. So you need to have a target first thing. Now, if you feel like 50,000 is not enough, I need 100,000, then just 100,000 times 25, $2.5 million. So that's one of the way. The other easy way is, and which is a very common rule in the industry, is called 4% rule. There are a lot of studies done on this. A lot of advisors love this formula. There are a lot of Monte Carlo simulations run to come up with this number. It's called 4% rule. Basically, like whenever you're planning to retire, look at your nest egg, how big that is. Let's say you have $1 million and you're retiring now. So out of that $1 million, if you just take out 4% every year, which is $40,000, then the chances are that you have a successful retirement for up to 30 years and you will not run out of money. And this is already calculated and accommodated all the ups and downs of the market based on past almost 100 years of market simulations. So, and then you increase every year 1% for inflation. So still, we're assuming that the market will continue to grow around 6%. Tim just said we have 16 years of bull ride, which is never had happened before, but that can change, right? So things can again change. But if that happens, I think this 4% rule is also pretty good in order to understand, how much I have when I retire. So you can apply this rule also. If you have 1 million, 2 million, how much money? Or if I just take out 4%, how much I need to build to get to my retirement number. So very, very simple rules. Once you understand this, then you can go into deep dive and understand other dynamics of it, what would be my expenses, what could change during these times, how to plan for those things. But this will be a very good starting point. And this, anyone can understand this. I don't think it's a rocket science in understanding these two formulas. One thing I've noticed, I talk to a lot of advisors also off and on. So whenever we talk to them, they talk so much about these, diversification into, I will do 70% equities, 20% bond, 30% this. And people get really confused what exactly I need to do, right? So just understand the basics first, that how much money I need and how do I secure some of those things. And then let's take other steps forward. Okay, let's continue and then talk about few other things, which is personally, this helped me close a lot of deals because when you do this thing, when you ask questions, the only way for you to understand what your client is thinking is by asking questions. If you just go there and sit and open your laptop and, just start running illustrations, it's more like a salesperson, you are trying to sell something which they don't even know whether they need it or not. So that requires more efforts. But the moment you start asking questions, they open up and you also see whether you are, getting along in some direction. So what are those questions? There are many, but I just, wrote down a few of them. So let's say if you're talking to a prospect, ask this simple question. And does it make sense not to lose money when the market goes down? Right? Because we have seen recently what is happening from last 1 week in the market is we are losing a good bit of money, right? So think of these people who are already 60, 65. Is it the time for them to worry about the market or go on beach and enjoy their time? Not many people will say yes to this, that, that we want to still actively manage our funds. They say, I'm done with this thing. I just want to relax and enjoy. So then does it make sense not to lose the money when market goes down? Of course, I don't want to lose money. Okay, that's great. Do you like the idea of having a guaranteed lifetime income for you and your spouse if you're married, right? Who will say no to this? Oh, no, I don't want guaranteed lifetime income. Yes, you want a guaranteed lifetime, but have you explored that part ever? Do you know how you can accomplish that thing? So again, we are just raising some curiosity in their mind before I get to my illustration or the product discussion, but I'm just, start seeding some information in the mind that these are the things. What matters to you most in your retirement? Accumulation or distribution? Right? This is very, very common question, and people do get all this time that, uh, the the wealth building part for retirement is like climbing a mountain. So when you are working in your working life from, let's say, 30 to 60, 65, it's all accumulation. So it's like climbing the mountain. You are going up the hill. When you reach the top, when you hit the summit, it's not you are right. You accumulated enough now. The next phase is coming, which is the distribution, which is coming down the hill. And that's where a lot of accidents happen. What another market, crash happens. Another 2007, 8 happens. People lost almost 50% of their portfolio. So again, when you are climbing down, you want to make sure you are going slow, take all the necessary steps. So that's where the distribution is. Distribution is very, very, critical to understand how to plan for that. We don't want to be exposed too much tax risk, too much. There are so many risks. We'll talk about that in a second. So I asked this question, what matters to you? And then I explain a little bit, what these two things are. And does it make sense to have an increasing income on your depleting asset? Explain a little bit about 401k in there, how it can, wash away when you start using it. Do you like the idea of giving yourself a raise in your retirement? No, who don't want that, right? Everyone wants that. And once you retire, what do you think? What's the best bet for you to depend on government benefits or getting help from your family to take care of your retirement, especially with respect to money? I think people feel more confident and comfortable when they have good amount of money saved up. And at the time, they can also help out the family rather than asking for help. So these are all yes answer, yes question, right? People will say yes, yes, yes. When you have more and more yes, when you ask more and more yes questions, it is obvious that you are going to end up, closing that deal. So, and then you can come up with your own questions also, and just practice them before. There is a sequence to ask this question. You cannot just open this page and say, okay, tell me this, check. No, it's not that way. You need to find the right time when to ask this question, when to ask the other question during that whole 30, 40 minutes of discussion with a client. Now, in order to understand what people do in order to save for their retirement and what could be their source of income during that time, right? So, and pretty much everything you see, a lot of people are building all these things. There are some guaranteed incomes like Social Security, which is, I say, so security, maybe not, or how much we don't know. Then non-guaranteed income, which is your deferred accounts like 401ks and IRAs or brokerage accounts. And if you have built up some other assets like rental properties and all, or some royalties that you're getting, then all those are active participation. And some backup income, which is like last resort if nothing works, and at least I have this paid up home which I can do a reverse mortgage and get some money out of it. So a lot of time people do go on that also. But at least you have a couple of things to work on when it comes to taking income out. Right? Now, this is where the most important questions, the success of your retirement is not really about building all these assets. It's about, because we have seen this in if you have been in US for 30, 40 years, you have seen all ups and downs, that assets can be lost, stolen, swindled, sued, divorced, decimated in market crash. It just takes, like what happened during COVID, like everything was upside down. So things can happen which is beyond our control. So what can we do? The success really depends on answer to these two questions. How much guaranteed lifetime income do I have? And have I taken the key retirement risk off the table? These are two very, very powerful things. And when I say guaranteed lifetime income means it is there for sure. I'm not counting on a 4% rule, or I'm not counting on 25 times rule. I am saying that just like Social Security check, if you're already start receiving your Social Security benefits, let's say you're receiving $3,000 of monthly check. It's a guaranteed check for your life. You will get as long as you live. There's no question about it. As long as the trust fund is there, trust funds are there. So that sort of guarantee is like, how much do we have? Now, what would be the source of guaranteed income? We already talked on the previous slide about that. There are only three things that can provide the guaranteed income. I'm not talking about any other investment. I'm so strictly guaranteed means it will be there. One of them we talked about it, Social Security. Second one is pension, which is like if you work for federal government, state government, sometimes they have you benefit of providing you a pension plan, or some corporates also provide that, but it's going down because all this pension plan was replaced with the defined contribution plans, like 401ks. So not many company offering pensions. The third thing is the annuities. So this is more like a private pension that you can build for yourself. But these are guaranteed. When you start receiving payment from these sources, that payment is there for the rest of your life, very, very sure. Okay, now talk about risk. Why do we need secure guaranteed income? Because there are a lot of things so I'm repeating all those things again and again because I really wanted to, put through this point that there will be a lot of risk in our retirement, in our future. But are we taking care of them? What kind of risk I'm talking about? Longevity risk, we just talk about. People can live longer. Deflation risk, market risk, withdrawal rate risk, sequence of return, long-term care, mortality, inflation, regulatory, taxation, right? And these are some of them which are the bigger ones, that can happen. I was working with a client, who are in their 70s, and so until that point everything was good, taxes were in control and all, but unfortunately one of the spouse passed away, and now he has to file as a single income, right? Instead of jointly, now single. So all the tax slabs have changed now. Immediately he see because yes, one person less now in the family, but your expenses are still sizable. You don't really split into half, because now I'm alone, I'm single, so my expenses are just half. No, you still have similar kind of expenses, so you still need to withdraw same amount of money, but the tax liability has doubled now. So it's a big change in the situation now. But they haven't planned about that thing. So see, there are things which will happen that's beyond our control. So we need to still plan for that. Now, looking at these, what could be the number one risk? What could be the number one risk out of all these? Longevity risk is the number one risk, hands down. Why so? Because we just saw people can live up to 100 also. So if we are expecting as of today's data from 60 to 80, 85, yes, and during that time you will be seeing some market risk, some market going down, or healthcare. But think of this, that if you add another 5 or 10 years, then all those risks can happen again. And most likely, yes, there will be health challenges. The long-term care risk will kick in. So it's a good thing, people, that we are living longer, but at the same time, we are multiplying all of the risk also. Market can go down again, market can crash, things can deflate. So we need to take this risk off the table. This is the most important point. How do you do that? By having a guaranteed lifetime income, because no other investment assets or stocks, mutual fund, all these things, yes, they are good for diversification, but we cannot stress out enough that having a lifetime income is definitely the way to go. And what is it? It's nothing but it's a pension-like stream of income that you will be receiving a check every month and in your account. It's called a guaranteed paycheck for life. Very, very important. No matter how good you are, this can be a blessing. Why I'm saying that? There are a lot of studies that has happened, and you can relate it with you. You just think of this, that some people, like the way you think, again, everyone thinks differently. So instead of you having a sizable, portfolio, let's say $1 million in your portfolio, and then you have to take out 50,000 every year. And so every time you take out that money, you still feel, should I take out that much? Should I withdraw this much this year? Or, what if I need more money next year? Let me not withdraw all this. Let me just withdraw 40,000. Let me just do 20,000. Or I need to withdraw more. There will be a lot of what ifs, what ifs, what ifs. And you will not be able to enjoy that money. But instead of that, what if you are getting a $5,000 check every month in your bank account? Every month, no matter what. This month, next month, next month, month after month, you are getting that check. Then what would be your mindset? You will not think twice to spend that money. You'll go out, enjoy a vacation, travel, eating out, because you know next month I'm receiving again. You spend that. Next month I'm receiving again. So what eventually that will do is your happiness factor will be very, very high. You feel relaxed, stress-free. That will lead to a longer life. That's a lot of studies have done on that, which say people who have guaranteed source of income and good neighbors lives longer and longer. So always, build your circle, build your social circle. You need that a lot. Hang out a lot in a GI. We go on vacations together, and Hawaii trip is coming up and other places. So, work hard towards that. But when you have constant source of income and happy society, happy surrounding, you will be, remain happier in your retirement also. So this is very, very powerful. Don't underestimate that also. Now, uh, uh, now coming, little bit on our business side is now how I can say for sure that annuity is really working out. So let me pull this report. The slide is a little bit bigger. It's not easy to read there. Okay, here. This is the same article that I was showing there. So this is recently posted by Limra on January 28th. So keep this as a bookmark for your next client meeting, because this is, you can show that the annuity sales has crossed $432 billion just in 2024. It's billion with a B. It's a big, big number. And this is a 12% increase year over year, right? So what that means is the market is shifting. People are moving. There's a huge market out there. So that gives me a lot of confidence and belief that what I'm doing is absolutely good. And if I need this solution for myself, yes, there is a big market. A lot of people are getting into this. And out of that, fixed index annuities are also doing absolutely amazing. Just fourth quarter did 30 billion. Overall, $125 billion went in fixed index annuity last year, which is a 30% gains. This is a third year consecutive record FIA sales, highest. So this gives another, again, if you're a business partner, you should feel like, so motivated. Oh man, this is great. There's so many people I know. Let's talk. Let's start that conversation, because market is shifting. Why that is happening? This is a great article. If you read the whole thing, you'll love it. Investor demand for protection-based solutions remains high. Protection-based solutions. What is fixed index annuity? Down market protection. You will never lose your dollar. If you roll over 100,000, it will never go 99 also. Doesn't matter what happens, and the political scenario changes. Anything can change. My balance will remain same, if even not going high, right? That's what people are looking for. And it says competitive participation risk, innovative index design. What that means is that still you're going to make good amount of money in these investments. It's not that it's a very conservative, just like CDs, 2-3%. No, I don't know. I cannot share the statements, but some of the statements I received last year from one of the provider earning like 13%, 15% index credits. And that's not a small growth. With zero floor means not going to lose the money. Right? So that is very, very powerful. And on top of that, look at this. This should blow you off right away. You know, this is if you see the index, the top companies, this is for 2023, 24 is still not out yet. They will be releasing sometime in March. But if you see top companies, Allianz, Athene, Corebridge, North American Salmons, American Equity, Nationwide, F&G, top 7-8 companies who leading the market, we represent them. It's under our belt, it's in our portfolio. So in the biggest market, with all the companies that we have, and with all these statistics that people are going to live longer and all, what is stopping us? Right? This is something that we need to take full advantage of, you know, all these things. We have these companies with us. So it is a no-brainer. And look at these products like this. This is just one of the example. A product from Nationwide, which offers upfront 30% bonus guaranteed, and then 8% compounding annual growth for next 10 years. And starting March 3rd, it's going to go 8.5 for 12 years. That is unbelievable, right? And then you start your guaranteed lifetime income, with all the growth opportunities, 100% principal protection. What else your client is looking for? And I'm not even asking them to move all the funds in this. Hey, I'm just talking about 20%, 30% of your portfolio so that you sleep well at night peacefully. You don't worry about market crashes. That's the power of what we are offering. Now, this is my last slide. Yes, if retirement is a road trip, then you need a vehicle that will never run out of gas, right? So that it can continue to go on and on. Do not underestimate the power of guaranteed lifetime income with fixed index annuities. So I think we have some time. I can show you the more product details, or maybe take some questions. And Jody, whatever way you want to.
You bet. First of all, guys, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was a perfect, I love it because it's the perfect balance between information and people skills. You know what I mean? You gotta go through, paint that picture, sell that dream. It goes from, it doesn't even talk about annuities until well into the presentation. You know, it's all based on questions and questions and questions, and we love that. Just so you guys know, I mean, the reason we have Anuj on is, he's a great guy and all this stuff, but it's because he's one of the biggest producers there is in this field. I mean, he's out writing a tremendous amount of business using just what you heard from today. So let's do control the conversations a little bit. And yes, guys, we'll be able to get the presentation and all that stuff. And I know everyone's going to ask that, but go through and all the questions. Let's just ask a few questions and we'll go first. So Wilkin, did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. I just have a client right now. He just texted me about an IUL policy that he was reading the contract that says that the death benefit is not guaranteed. So I understand what it means, but how would we address something like that?
Now, first of all, that is an IUL question versus an annuity question. And
okay.
we're talking about annuities, but that's okay because I think Anuj is well-versed on both sides. You know, maybe you want to answer that a little bit.
So I would just ask my client again, where did he read that? So I always ask question on question. I just don't answer right away. Like, where can you provide me the detail where you have read this? It's not guaranteed, or it's, I don't know if he's using the word guaranteed or not. Is he saying it's not guaranteed?
Yes, that's the word.
Yeah. So Usually there is a way to design IUL so that it can provide you a guaranteed death benefit. So I don't know what design you have sent to that person, but if you just design based on like, with high accumulation growth, then death benefit may lapse in the guaranteed scenario after certain years. But if he's more concerned about a guaranteed death benefit, yes, it can be designed in that way also.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, we designed it to 120 years. So continuing making payment.
Which product did you pick for that?
It was the FNG Path Setter.
Yeah, I think that if you look at the guaranteed section, it may not run in a guaranteed way for 120 years. You see, right, there are multiple columns in the illustration. One of them is a guaranteed section. But I think it's more like a designing of the policy. Jody, we can take offline. I can help him.
Yeah. And not only that, we'll have a whole nother section on presentation where we go into IUL and questions on that. So any
Thank
more
you.
questions? Thank you, Walker. Any more questions, guys?
Jody, I just want to clarify, maybe the income is not guaranteed all the way to the
He was
150
talking about
years.
IUL. He was talking about
Yeah.
IUL.
But maybe he's talking about the income, but the death benefit, the face amount, the death benefit is guaranteed if they have it. So maybe he can rephrase the question with his client because maybe it's the income that the client is talking.
That's fine. All right, guys, questions from today on this, what we're going over?
I have a question, Jody.
Yes, thanks, Caesar.
Anu, thank you very much for putting all this presentation and taking the time to show us how we can present this. And this is a topic that I love. Now, with all the providers that we have, I've been trying to sort them out to see which one is probably the best at that moment to present to the client, because some of them are 22% at 22 premium a bonus, and some other 10, some other minimum 5,000, and the others minimum 25,000. Do you have like a chart, for example, that will help you make the decision which product do you use for a particular client?
Yeah, that's very, very important because, and that comes with experience, right? So usually if you have not done annuities before, like if you are not have enough field experience, first thing I suggest with, again, I don't know how long you've been in the business, just pardon me for that, but but I suggest work with a field builder, at least first few cases, and involve them with the initial discussion with the client, because answer to those questions will come when you ask all the questions from the client, what they are looking for. Are they looking for growth? Are they looking for income? When they are planning to start the income. Once I have those answers from the question, then I can say, yeah, the Athene offers better 50% upfront bonus. So they are more looking towards passing this as a legacy. The death benefit added, the bonus added to the death benefit also. So, but if they are looking only for growth and then income, then Nationwide is perfect, 30% bonus and 8% growth. If they are just looking for accumulation, then I may go to performance-like product. So that thing will happen when you ask questions, understanding their needs. Don't go with a pre or a fixed mind that today I'm just going to give him a Nationwide product because it's so good, I like it. No. Interview, it's called the client interview, right? Take good amount of time to do that. Annuities is a very, very specific product. There are a lot of regulations around it, especially when it comes to senior market. We don't want to just give them something based off our understanding. And it gets confusing because when we work with multiple providers, all of them are offering bonuses and all. So again, asking more and more questions will definitely help you to find
And
the right.
real quick on that, and I'm not, let's use every disclaimer possible. Don't hold us to these answers as far as every specific case. But in general, if someone, in your case, has said to you that they're just interested in growth, not so much in the income side. What have you been using lately as the products would you recommend? And I know that's based on, but in general.
Yeah, if somebody is looking for growth in general, right, like just pure accumulation, then I would look for Performance Elite 10, 15, because it will give some bonus also, and the indexes are pretty good. If somebody is looking for, as I said,
What company is that with?
sorry, say it again.
Which company was that with, the first product you were mentioning?
Athene.
Okay.
Yeah, Athene Performance Elite. And if somebody is also looking for income in few years, after 10 years for sure, minimum 10 years they can wait, then Athene Agility 10 is a very good product with 50% bonus. And if they not end up using that money, it can go to the beneficiaries also, right? So that is one thing I ask my client, what's the end goal with this money? What if you not end up using it? Do you still look that as a legacy transfer? Then Athene Agility 10 is pretty good. But if they are not sure, they may start income in 2 years or maybe wait for 10 years, but they are looking for some growth as well as income. Then Nationwide New Heights is very good product, depending where they are. I think most of the states it offers, and because that gives you flexibility to start income after 1 year, and you can wait up to 10 now up to 12 years to get that consistent guaranteed growth also. But the bonus part does not add to the death benefit. So if person pass away, they only get what's in the account value.
Awesome. And maybe one other point on this real quick, and is that one of the things that Mauricio has put together inside of Zybrazus, and that's getting ready to really become prominent, is called Abacus. And Anuj, I may have him call you so you can work on this, because what's going to happen is it's a calculator, it's, for the lack of a better term, where you put in what someone's looking for and it picks the products that we have that fit that.
Yeah.
That'll be a huge thing going forward. Do you want to mention that real quick, Mauricio?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe even if there was time to share, because it's very, very easy to share, very quickly to share. Let me see. I don't know if I can you hear me?
Just mention it. Yeah, we can hear you. Just mention it for now,
Let
because
me,
I want to just have a couple more minutes for questions.
sorry about a dog bark here, but just very quickly, okay? So just the exercise that we went through right now in the annuity finder, you would be able to select, if it's an FIA, right? We have MIGA, which is the multi-year guarantee annuity, an FIA or a SPIA. But if it's an FIA, which is what most people will probably be looking at, I don't know, let's just say you have somebody who is 55 years old, who is not yet retired. And the primary reason, like they want income now, do they want income in the future? They just want to grow the money and have the kind of a walk away with the money, or do they want to leave money for the beneficiaries or heirs? So let's just say in this case is the objective is income in the future. And whatever the amount of funding you have, if you're below the minimum requirement, then you're not going to be shown, like if you have 20,000, you're not going to be shown product that needs, 25,000 at minimum. Would you be adding additional premiums? Let's say no. And then which riders are you looking for? You want death benefit? You want roll-up riders? You want guaranteed? So the more, you can click them all if you want, but it's going to show you from the top which companies were probably ranked based on what you want, right? All the way from the Alliances to the FNGs to the Athenes, as he was talking about, with the bonuses. And so you can explore. You see how it's ranking, like it ranks top based on the stuff that you are checking here. But it depends on the objective that you're looking for in the product. That's what you're going to get. If you want just to safely grow the money for the future, then you're going to get a different.
Right. The thing I wanted to show on there, and let's go back to Anuj, because I want people to ask him questions. But I just want you guys to know that this will be put in place so that it helps bridge that gap between having to have as many years of experience. So I'm really excited about that. So thanks, Mauricio.
Not a
No,
problem. Not a
appreciate it.
problem. Yeah, and I don't know if Kathy's here, but she has a very strong testimony on how she's been able to use it, how she was able to spot a solution for a client
Right.
that she didn't even seen before. So I don't know if she's here, but I think her testimony was very strong and
Yeah.
positive.
I'll use that at the end. Thank you so much. Any last questions, guys, for Anuj, or anything, Anuj, that you want to comment on before we go?
Actually, I do. Hi, Hubert. Hi, Jody. This is Scott. How you doing, buddy?
It's got it.
I have a question for Anu. Anu, I recently have thank you for the training. Training was great. I recently have a client. He's in his mid-40. He have $160,000 401k. And I roll it over to the Secure Horizon Accelerator, which is an FIA, fixed index annuity. One of the questions that I asked myself when I built the illustration out was the indexes. How do you pick the indexes for someone that is in their 40, they have time to accumulate? Do you look at the performance of those indexes and determine how much percentage you put the money in there?
Yeah, and that's another good point that, there are many indexes available. So usually, again, asking questions if it's too much, like there are some indexes that are charged like strategy fees. So if he's okay with adding those, because he's young, he's 40, right? He's in 40s, so it's okay. He can see some ups and downs. Then I can add some charge indexes, around up to 50%, and adding multiple of them based on the past performances, 2-3 of them about 20% like that. So that will give them a very high participation, right? Even if it goes good for 1 or 2 years, that will give up a very good jump. And then if I see S&P is there with a good participation or good cap, I'll definitely add S&P also a little bit. And if fixed also is over around 4% or close to 4%, I add at least 10 to 15% in fixed, because sometimes these indexes does not perform at all. And then when clients don't see any gains, they feel a little bit awkward, like what's going on. So with fixed, at least they get some positive number. So it's a better idea to spread it out with multiple indexes, not just keep 1 or 2. And if you give 1 year, that will give them an opportunity to reallocate after 1 year. So picking long term is a little bit challenging if they don't perform.
Yeah, I was looking for something since he's in his mid-40, he still have time to accumulate. I was thinking about putting more percentage on a index that actually perform well, a little bit more aggressive. That makes sense? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
One last question, if it can help other people. I was also determining whether we go 2-year point to point or 1 year point to point, since he's young. He's still young. What do you recommend on that? 1 year point to point or 2-year point to point? And maybe, I don't know if everybody know what that means. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, basically, like when the money will be credited in the account, depending on 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, different strategies, right? So if you pick 1 year index, which means every year end, the account will be credited if the market is positive, if the index is positive. If not, then there is no credits. If it's 2 years, then the money will be credited after 2 years, exactly after 2 years. So that's how the point to point works. But again, if I am very confident about the market, what Tim was saying, 16 years of growth, then it's okay to have 2 years, some of them as 2 years. But especially in very volatile market, I will just keep 1 year mostly, because I don't want them to stuck for multiple years and not see any gains at all. You lose, client will lose confidence then, it's hard to get future business from them.
Excellent. Thank you, Anu. That was very helpful. Okay, I was determining that whether it's a 2-year point to point, because he's still young. But you make a good point in a volatile market. What if he have to wait 2 years to get some kind of return on his money, and go 1 year, probably more safer. Thank you.
And then the last question on that real quick before we let you go, Anuj, and I appreciate you so much, is this, is it if someone asks a question that the 2-year usually has a higher participation rate, what would you say back to that? Or is that accurate?
Yeah, definitely. That's the idea, right? Company wants to hold to your money for a longer period of time. They know that you are not going to do anything for 2 years or even higher. So that's why they give you higher participation on 2-year rate. But as I said again, if nothing works for 2 years and then they see zero, sometimes they will not receive it as very positive. So it gives me more flexibility to change the allocation after every year if the market is very, very unstable.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I know one of the other things is that should you have an annual review, and absolutely, and there's many reasons for that. If you'll go back and watch last week's broadcast, you've got Kimberly Odie does a great job talking about why to go back, because you don't want them if you don't. Kimberly, do you want to make that point real quick as we finish about why it's so important that they go back at the end of the year so that they don't get locked into something that they're not prepared for going forward?
Yes, I would like to make that conversation. I'm trying to be in front of this camera. Are you talking about just client reviews?
Yeah, about how if you don't get them in that year, that all of a sudden can be locked into something going forward that they didn't want to.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, if it's a 1 year point to point or whatever it is, if it resets every year, you want to meet with them within that 30-day period of time. You usually have a 30-day period of time on that anniversary date to make any changes. So if, you think the market's going to take next year and you don't want to be invested in anything other than fixed account because you want them to see money, if you don't make that change in that 30-day period of time, you don't have the ability to make that change. So I think it's very important to create a client calendar. And when you issue a policy that becomes your anniversary date for that client, you need to put that in for a year from now. So you remember to reach out to them and make any changes to your allocations that might need to be made. And also, you also have the ability to revisit with your client, and also life changes, things happen from year to year. So probably pick up more business by doing so.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And hello, St. Louis. Good to see you guys. All of you guys. Proud of you. Anush, thank
Jody,
you.
if you don't mind, I know you're closing out. May I have just
LaShawn,
5 seconds?
If it's you, LaShawn, we have any time that you want. This is one of our very best, Anush. So go ahead, LaShawn.
Well, thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. And Anu, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Really enjoyed your presentation. Annuities are my babies. I really love them. I just wanted to add real quick, guys, if you're speaking to someone and they already tell you that they have an annuity, don't let that stop you. Ask them if you can sit down and review that annuity with them. Because actually, case in point, I just had a client, she had an annuity with the theme, and surely I'm thinking, okay, she's with Hoffman, hands off, I'm not going to touch. And 2, it's with a theme, one of the top companies, as you showed, Anu. However, I did in a review and I looked at her product and I was able to go to a theme because she loved that company, did an illustration. Not only did I get her a higher bonus to offset her surrender charge to replace her, but I also doubled her lifetime income stream. Wow. And guys, that is priceless. So if they tell you they have an annuity, don't let that stop you. Ask them if you can review it and see if we can beat it.
Awesome. Thank you, LaShawn. Any final
I get
thoughts?
really excited when someone says they already have annuity or life insurance or these products. I get excited because they already have confidence in those things. So why not? I congratulate them. Yeah, that's great. You have it already. Let's look at it.
That's awesome. Any last thoughts and news before we say goodbye?
I think just keep doing what you're doing and follow, Jody. He's a great leader. Whatever he says, just blindly follow that. I learned so much from him all the time. So I really want to appreciate all your help, Jody. And good luck to everyone.
Well, I'm always here for you, and thank you for being part of the team. We appreciate you, and I love it when both these teams can overlap every now and then because it's my two worlds. A lot of you guys don't get to be in both of them, but thank you so much. Great job, guys. We'll see you soon. I'll be on at 1:30 for the Realtor Bop. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.